All right, welcome back to the channel. So we talking about Tyson Fury when we're talking about some underhandedness and some shadiness. Tyson Fury very well may disrespect the arbitration judge and announce his next fight coming this Monday, that out of the mouth of his promoter, Frank Warren. Let's talk about Tyson Fury thumbing the nose, possibly, at the entire mediation and arbitration process that he agreed to with Deontay Wilder by just going on ahead and doing whatever Tyson Fury thinks he wants to do. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So I woke up this morning, wonderful Saturday morning in the United States, got up around 5 o'clock in the morning, and on my Instagram, I got several inboxes, DMs, call them DMs, and that forwarded me to an interview that Frank Warren, the promoter, the UK promoter for Tyson Fury, gave after a fight that was Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's brother, was in. And he was asked a bunch of questions, but then he was asked about what's going on with Deontay Wilder. And let me assure you, dude, this guy's tone has completely changed. Okay, completely changed. Gone from one where it was just, yes, the contract expired, we're done, we're moving on. Deontay Wilder messed up. He didn't agree soon enough. You know, that shadiness that everybody knows is shady. Okay, don't even care what happens with the judge. Everybody knows that's shady. You know it's shady. I know it's shady. It's shady. The man agreed to fight Deontay Wilder with a rematch and have a rematch. And there was a whole pandemic going on. So the idea that Deontay Wilder was the reason that this fight got postponed is absolutely ridiculous on its face. But like I said, we will wait to see what happens in mediation, what happens in arbitration, to see how that plays out. However, what Frank Warren said, dude, was slightly alarming, and it was consoling at the same time. Alarming in the fact that he said that they are going to announce what Tyson Fury is going to be doing this Monday, right? So the day after next, actually, yeah, it's still Saturday there. So the day after next, on Monday, Tyson Fury, Frank Warren are supposed to come up with an announcement about who they're fighting next. There's been several names that have been put out there, and it doesn't matter who the name is, because on Monday, if they announce that they're going to have a fight, they're doing it in the middle of a mediation session with Deontay Wilder, which should signal to the judge that they have no interest in actually working this out. And if the judge then rules in favor of Deontay Wilder, this will be a spit in the face of the judge ahead of time. Because if they just go on ahead with the fight, then they're telling the judge, look, we don't care what you say. We're going to go on and do our thing. We're over in the UK, whatever. And honestly, dude, that is about what I expect out of Tyson Fury. Because, dude, Tyson Fury has done that type of stuff with other tribunals. Do you call that a tribunal? With other legislative bodies. For example, do you remember when Tyson Fury tested positive for performance-enhancing drug for nandrolone, and he came up with that bunk story about how he and his cousin Fury, and I guess a couple other guys that were on steroids, but him and his cousin Huey just so happened to order boar meat without the uncastrated boar meat, and that's why they have nandrolone in their system. And then what do? They stuck with that lie that everybody knew was a lie, and they just dragged it out and dragged it out and dragged it out, and nothing happened for several years, because that's what Tyson Fury is capable, and that shows you that Tyson Fury is capable of doing that. He's capable of signing an agreement with Deontay Wilder and telling you that the contract expired, even though he knows fully well that there is a mediation and arbitration clause in that contract. Bob Arum definitely knew it, and he didn't say anything about it until when? Until Deontay Wilder files his complaint with whatever the process, initiates the mediation and the arbitration. They don't say anything about it, right? But talking to us, talking to the media, talking to the press, and saying, oh, this contract is just expired, which just should sound stupid to everybody. But, this is boxing. And since half the media is bought and paid for, they don't say anything. They just kind of say, yeah, that makes sense to me. Deontay Wilder took too much time. Yeah, rock on, Tyson, rock on. Move on, man. Yeah, we know the outcome of that fight. Who cares what you signed if you actually agreed to it? Now, do you think these same people would be doing that if Deontay Wilder if Tyson Fury was exercising a rematch clause? Of course not. They would be all on his neck 100 miles an hour, calling him a liar, calling him a cheater, calling him a coward because he won't take the rematch. But that doesn't happen with Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury is one of the more privileged fighters in the history of boxing, dog. But to be fair to him, he is a very good fighter. I do believe that. I do believe he's a very good fighter, and that he can beat 95% of the heavyweights in the world without cheating. However, I'm not quite sure. 99% of the heavyweight boxers in the world without cheating. The problem is, can he beat the top guys that have the ability to knock him out without cheating? That I don't know, and I don't know if we're going to get a chance to actually ever see that, because he's cheated literally in every big fight he's ever had. He's had some cheating associated with that, and I don't see it changing. Now, what do I think that the arbitrator and the mediator will do? I'm going to tell you, I do not know. But the mediation portion of it, and this is the part that just by virtue of making an announcement, if that announcement is that he's going to fight somebody else, if that is what the announcement is, then it's the mediation portion of it that just tells you these guys are not interested at all, right? Because they've already announced their next fight. Now, what I suspect could happen in the mediation, I said this in other videos, is that Tyson Fury could probably fight somebody, and then Deontay Wilder could fight somebody, and then they could have a contract in the contract for Tyson Fury if he fights somebody, that if he loses that fight, then the fighter that beats him has to fight Deontay Wilder. And that, because you could say that you will honor any previous obligations of the champion Tyson Fury, specifically a rematch clause with Deontay Wilder. If whoever he fights agrees to that and signs it, then it is possible for Tyson Fury to get his cheating practice in before he fights Deontay Wilder. Oh, did I say cheating practice? Exactly, cheating practice. Why does Tyson Fury want another fight before the Deontay Wilder fight? I think so he can find out some new ways to cheat. Kind of like he did with during in between when he fought Tom Schwartz and he fought Otto Wallin. The whole time he's fighting these guys, he's practicing against guys like Nicholas Asbury with no gloves, with no padding in his gloves, dipping his hands in kerosene, getting ready for the big cheat. And since Deontay Wilder, since you can't have the extended glove in the first one, right? And he can't have the padded glove in the second one. I don't think that they can have the water and all that other stuff that's being thrown out there available for it. But, you can expect Tyson Fury, if he does take the fight, he's going to want to take one or two fights. So, like I said, he can go through his Barnum and Bailey Circus Act, figure out exactly how he can get in whatever type of weapons, get in whatever kind of weapons he wants to get into the ring to use against Deontay Wilder, and figure out how he can get that done. Make sure he has at least 8 months of good practicing with good sparring to get it right before he gets in there with Deontay Wilder, prepared to cheat again. Because Tyson Fury, like I said, some people are saying, well, Tyson Fury can't cheat in this third fight. Wrong. Tyson Fury will cheat in this third fight, and I dang near guarantee you that he will. He doesn't have enough confidence and courage to get into a ring with Deontay Wilder without cheating. And the idea, we keep going over whether or not these guys believe that Deontay Wilder cheated or not. Let me tell you something about another article that I saw. I mentioned this late in the conversation because I don't want to give these guys any press. But this is a particular website that I used to rely on until I realized, God, dog, man, this is just straight up troll. But they put this article out with LL Cool J, one of the super fans of boxing, right? Guys that have always been into boxing. I've known LL Cool J to be into boxing as long as since the mid 1980s. So I do definitely believe he's a serious boxing fan. I don't know if he's as hardcore and into it as people that would be on this channel are, but even he was like, yeah, there could be some issues with the cheating, but maybe Deontay Wilder, should just keep that to himself. Wrong, LL Cool J. Wrong, LL Cool J. LL Cool J. No, wrong. You say something about the cheating. Because just because fans are going to say something bad about you, especially in the situation that Deontay Wilder's in, man, it don't matter whether or not you say something, he says something good or something or bad or whatever, because the fans are going to attack Deontay Wilder either way it goes. So I think Deontay Wilder, the best thing Deontay Wilder's done in his career is let people know that Tyson Fury is cheating. Because that not only will do something for Deontay Wilder, in that it will allow Deontay Wilder to go into a ring with him again, knowing what this guy did. And knowing that he just has to be careful about it and really watch his P's and Q's, because Tyson Fury's a scumbag. But once Tyson Fury's back in the ring with him and Deontay Wilder's fairly comfortable that this guy can't cheat, then it's going to be the first even fair fight that he's had with him. And Deontay Wilder's got to feel confident about it, because he almost knocked him out in a fight where Tyson Fury cheated with gloves all kind of extended. Oh, and by the way, Jack Reese was not checking those gloves. All them people, they checked the gloves. No, Jack Reese did not check those gloves. Jack Reese had those gloves, held him by the wrist. And every time he wiped that dude's gloves or checked that dude's gloves, he grabbed the wrist and moved it out by the side of his body and down. I didn't see him check the gloves, never. And that's on tape. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.